This lesson is on setting up a login validation form to check a user's user ID and password before you let them into your application. Now, this is a fairly common practice, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to put some garbage in just to get a failure. So I throw in a few H's, and then on the password, I'll just put some junk characters, and I'll click the login. You can't see the password, of course, because it's masked. So it says invalid login. Go back and try again. So I press the back button. Now the users I've set up to be valid are user 1, user 2, and user 3. The passwords for them are pass1, pass2, and pass3 respectively, just to keep it simple. User 2, and I typed in pass2. Click login. Voila! It let me in to the form where I can see the books table. So I've got their titles and types, and I've some SQL set up to just display that, but only if I log on correctly. So let's go look at the table of valid users, and then we'll go look at the code. So here's the table. I've named it valid users. The key, or the primary key, is the user ID. So we can repeat passwords. Each different user could have the same password if they wanted it, the way I've set this up. But we need to find the user ID and then verify that the password associated with them is correct. So if I were to browse this table, see the data, there's the user 1, pass 1, and so forth that I described earlier. Let's go look at the code now. We are working recursively here. We go back and call the same program each time the submit button is clicked. So we've seen that before. Here I'm getting the user ID that the user entered and getting the password. Now, here's an interesting little twist. Because it's a recursive program, I need to check the user ID and password each time. But I can't prompt them each time. That would get very annoying if every time you click the button you had to re-enter your user ID and password. So, I've set up a little system here. I check to see if it's the first time in. If it's set, it's not the first time in. It's the second time, third time, whatever in. So let's go look at the first time over here. So when this is not set, when the user ID is not there, we want to put it there. So here's what you first saw when we went into the application. Enter the user ID. Here's a little table. Generally, you don't use tables for serious formatting on a web page, but this is just a simple 2-entry field table. And so I'm just going to go ahead and use the table to format it. So user ID, that's the words user ID. And then in the second cell of the table is the actual text file, or rather the input type equals text field to collect the information. Now the password down here, notice that the type is equal to password. When you use that instead of type equals text, you get the masking that we saw with the little dots over there or asterisks you might get. The mask can hide in what the user enters, so if someone is looking over the shoulder, they won't see it. And we get a submit button, type equals submit, value login. You saw that when we first did it. Now I took kind of a shortcut out of the program. I ended the form, ended the body in HTML, and then I just exited the program. There are other ways to do this. It's just the way I chose to do it. So once I display this form, I'm done if they haven't logged on yet. So they click the button, and of course, it starts the program again. And now, this time, when we get down here, it is set. So we write out, instead, these hidden fields. We get user ID and password. And so I name these the same thing, user ID and password, and they're hidden. The user doesn't see them, but we're storing the user ID they entered and the password. So we can go through the validation process each time, but it'll be behind the scenes. And it should work. If they get in once, they'll get in successfully again and again. So let's go down here, and we connect to the database. And here's how I chose to do it. I'm selecting the user ID from the table, from the valid users table. I really don't have to select anything. Well, I've got to select something or the statement would be an error. But I'm just selecting a column. But to really see if it's valid, I really only need to check that where the user ID equals what they entered and the password equals what they entered, if I get a row back, I'm in. I obviously have typed in the right information. So I'm not really going to look at values of anything. I'm just going to look on whether I succeeded getting a connection to any row. And so down here, the normal routine of after running the query and getting the result, the normal routine of looking at the error if there's an error. If there's not, I go ahead and get the number of rows. And all I do here is I look to see if it's 0. If it's 0, I know it's an invalid logon because I have to find something. Otherwise, I don't have a combination of user ID and password that's valid. So I didn't even really have to fetch anything or do anything with the results. I just need to know if we got 0 or not. 0 is an invalid logon. If it's not 0, it's good. So what I did here is I said, do the function called doShowList. And that's down here. And here I just get information from the book table showing the title and type. And you've seen this kind of thing before. It's just another select statement being issued, and I'm formatting a table of results. So I don't get to see this, though, if I do an invalid login, because instead we get this, and the user has to go back and try again. So that ends our lesson on setting up a login table and verifying the results with PHP and MySQL.